Good morning, everybody. Happy Saka Dawa. that's some shit.
So you should generate a thought thinking that I must achieve state of enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings for their reason. I'm going to listen to this teaching, do this practice, and so forth. So usually we tend to say, only say, for the benefit of all sentient beings. But when it falls onto oneself, to do something for others, then you will not do unless you really like it to do, right? Unless you really like to do that. So even though we tend to say from our mouth, we tend to say for the benefit of all sentient beings, but then when we really, when it really comes the time to do something, then we always tend to not do it unless we really like to do it. So it becomes like a lie. So that is same for all of us, right? All of us here. But anyway, in whatever way we can, to engage in the virtuous action is very good. And especially this month, the month when Buddha Shakyamuni was born, the month when he achieved state of enlightenment, and the month when he passed away into Nirvana. So it is said that Buddha performed 12 deeds, 12 different kind of deeds in this world. So like in his previous life, and before he came into this world, before that he was in Tushita Pure Land, where Buddha Maitreya is now, as a king of that Tushita Pure Land. And she Chinese So in reality, Buddha Shakyamuni was already enlightened before he came into this world. But then when he came into this world, and then he performed the deeds of achieving enlightenment in this world. And so that he performed that deed in order to benefit sentient beings, to teach sentient beings. And that
다 저랑에 잡지네. 가지가 좀 있어. 아니, 땅안 가버려. 별이 또 소만 말했어.
So when the time came, and then the gods in Tushita Pure Land told Buddha Shakyamuni that it's time for him to go to this world, and go to the Zambudeva, the world the human beings live in, and to benefit the sentient beings there. So when the time came, then he assigned Buddha Maitreya to take over the throne of the king in Tushita Pure Land.
어때다 가든에 막 배워야 말까지 배웠다 가든에 배우는데 와서 좀 들으세요.
And so then he descended from the Tushita Pure Land and came down to come to this world. So that was the first deed, the deed of coming from Tushita Pure Land.
아니 대지라다 마일에서 주바스다 나서 밑에서 내가 제거하다 마일에서 주변에서 와서.
And then after that, then he performed the deed of conceiving in the womb. So because he was going to be born as human beings, so just as the human beings are born through the womb, and so he conceived in the womb. So that was the second deed.
아니 되네 많이 가다야 다 나와 줄아 쉬우니 아니 다 거다면서 와서 다 거다면서.
And then after staying in the womb for about 10 months, and then he was finally born. And so that was the third deed, the deed of taking birth.
이거 담사다 나도 나지 많이 받지 간지 다 아메리 나 배배로 시들아 아니 나빠하면서 주어서 아메리 딱 적어버려 되네. 아니 딱 말했어요.
And then when he was born, of course, it was not like ordinary human beings, and not taking birth naturally through the lower orifice, but rather was born from the right armpit, like when she was holding the branch of tree, and then he was born from came down out from her right armpit.
아니 되네 다 마키에는 공부 되게 보네. 보다 많이 지들은 조지 소모스. 사진은 공부는 많이 지들은 조지 소모스 지자서만 손대요.
And then so soon after he was born, and he started to walk. He started to walk, and he walked for 7 steps, and then he said, he said, "I'm the spring in this world," so just like you read in the prayer book there. And he said, and after that he said, "I'm spring in this world."
아니 다들 나 전에 뜻이다 와서 다 틀리지. 주주니야 다 틀리지. 이제 바로 전에 가버려서 같이 전에 뜻이. 나도 보고 나중에 전에야 말했어.
And then after that, then he performed the deed of the growing up as a teenager. The youthful person.
I don't know, maybe they're not teenager anyway. John is young, right? John is. 근데 다 고나게 빠와. 다 뭐 대보인자. 아니 대보 상하다. 아니 제가 아니 다 좀 좀 말했어.
And then because he was born into the royal family as a prince, so he had to take over the throne after his father. So then he also performed that deed of getting married, wedding.
아니 대지네 다 대지. 아니 대지더라야 딱 앉아서. 가지는 보아지. 나도 봐지. 그것도 안 봐지. 그들한테 아니 뭐 같이 마시러. 다 줘봐대. 근데 나도 쉬면 되거든.
And so that was the fifth one. And the sixth one is the deeds of becoming a monk or getting ordained.
아니 걔가 다시 삼촌들을 쌈제 쌈대나 도와리 말했어.
So at that time he was about 27 or 28 years old.
네. 딸로가 땡땡이라는 가지 딸로 더 하지 말이 들어가니 답지 더 가지래.
I'm not sure about the exact age, but it was around that time.
아니 대값이야. 다지. 아니 지탱은 고발이야. 다 대화해 봐. 아니 10에 남았대. 시신거도 있나. 당가도 대신 나서야 10에. 제가 나중에 누가라야. 이 보면 10에 남았대. 따라도 좀 말해서까지.
So at that time, then he performed the deed of seeing. Of course, he knows, there is no essence in the worldly sake of sentient beings, he performed the deed of seeing all this the suffering nature of the worldly life, and then he gave up that worldly life and became a monk. So this is just to, like kind of I said, like teaching, to the disciples or followers, and that this is how you can become monk or take ordination and then practice and eventually achieve state of full enlightenment. And then the seventh one is, and after becoming monk, then studying, and then you went into meditation, intensive meditation and penance for 6 years. And then the eighth one is generating the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta. So I think this is what is saying, that he generated the mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta at that time. And then after that, while he was doing meditation, there was so much obstacles or interferences from the spirits, ghosts, and demons, and so forth. And so he subdued all of these demons. And then there's the praise to Buddha Shakyamuni, composed by Tsongkhapa, where he says the only person who subdued all his enemies without using any weapons, without wearing any armor, and using any weapon, is the Buddha Shakyamuni. And then the ninth one, is the performing the deeds of achieving enlightenment, and that is when that's in this month, the fourth month, on the 15th day of the fourth month. So that's the 10th one. And then after that, after he achieved enlightenment, he stayed in the forest, without teaching for 49 days. And so at that time also, there were no disciples, who are ready to listen to his teachings, and even if you were to teach, they would not have understood, and so therefore he didn't teach, and he just stayed in the forest for 49 days. So anyway, so that's when he said, I found these nectar-like teachings, nobody would understand if I would explain to them, but therefore I'll just remain in the forest. So by saying that, then he stayed in the forest for 49 days without teaching after he gained enlightenment. And then there was gods like Brahmas, Indras, who came and made offerings and requested for the teaching. And so after he has been requested to give teaching, then on the fourth day of the sixth lunar month, then he went to Varanasi and taught for the first time to the first 5 disciples. And that was the performing the deeds of teaching Dharma, or turning the will of Dharma. And then he lived up to, like, some say 80 years, some say 81 years. And after that, he performed the deeds of passing away.
어디다 Saka Dawa 다 산이래서 가지. 정화 산이 제거는 가지. 로카가 되나 다 다와라는 거네. 되게 숨는데 그래서.
And so it's tomorrow, the full moon day, the 15th of the fourth month. Of course, it's a different year, but same month and same day. So this is a special day because all these three events took place at the same time on that day.
근데 이 가라야 안에 듣기보다 라도시면 가요. 다 Saka Dawa 다와디나 레스예요. 다 나도시 소리레스.
And so there's a saying that also, the two other deeds, like the deed of performing performing the deed of becoming a monk or getting ordained, or then performing the deeds of subduing the demons, are also performed in this month, the fourth month.
내가 주니에서 다 나도 초급적인 넘어든 내가 주니 돼서 되더라.
So those are the 12 deeds of the Buddha he performed, by coming in the form of the emanation body or Nirmanakaya form. So we have performed many deeds also, right? If we were to count. So we have also performed the deeds of conceiving the womb, taking birth, growing up, and getting married, some of us, and so forth, right? We have done all these kind of deeds.
We have two more to do. 어떤데 다 뒤에 대라야 가지고 개발 좀 봐야나. 다 개발도 똑치고 납치고 싫어요.
So anyway, at this time, the special time, if you were to accumulate merits or engage in the virtuous actions, then it becomes very powerful.
아니 너도 배라야만 너마다 산이 참아 정말이야다 지금. 아니 다 배에서 마시고 가네나 배 흉을 내제부터 가가 나도 정말 고라노야. 대사 가거든 공부한 거나 고라는 좀이 배야. 속다도 쉬고 제가 그래서. 근데 자가라서 저 정말 이거는 뭐
And so, like in Tibet, before Chinese took over it, on that full moon day of the fourth month, all the staff from the casa, will go to different monasteries, temples, and make huge offerings. And even nowadays in India, many people go and make many offerings and do special practices on this day in the monasteries and other places. And so also during this time, many people, they do the fasting retreat, which is called Nyungne. There's like the 8 sets of Nyungne practice you can do. And so they do it usually in this month, from starting on the day first until the full moon day.
보다 남주직 샤사되가 나는 사대로 가래 샤마사야. 뭐? 아니 지금 남주직 다 수수직도 봐. 제대로 되거든. 파티쇼로 마셔가지고 다시 수수도 다시 그까지 제거해서.
And also, people try to restrain from all those all the negative karma, negative actions, as much as possible. Even though they do in other days, which they couldn't control much, but they try very best to control during that month. Like those who eat meat, will kind of abandon eating meat, for the whole month, or engage in other non-virtuous actions. And they try to stop that as much as possible. So the reason why these virtues become so powerful is because of the object, the time, the object. And so we're also going to do a little more here at Kurukulla Center. So tomorrow early morning at around 4:30, we're going to take 8 Mahayana precept, and then followed by that, then we'll do medicine Buddha Puja around 6 o'clock, and then try to engage in as much Dharma practice as possible throughout the day, and then evening, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, we'll have a Guru Puja. And I'm hoping that many Tibetans will turn out also to come to the Puja tomorrow. There has been an announcement made for the Tibetans to come also, so we'll see maybe a lot of Tibetans tomorrow. So the reason why we thought of doing the medicine Buddha Puja early in the morning is because soon after the precept, then we can do the puja, and then people can go to walk if they have to go to walk. And so we thought about doing some practice and not obstructing our walk as well. So if it obstructs another walk, then it will be not so good, right? So most of you have already taken the Bodhisattva vows, right? By receiving initiations. When you receive initiations, you have to take Bodhisattva vows, and so tomorrow we're going to take this is 8 minor precepts, especially. So I hope you will all take that. So the 8 minor precept is a day vow, so which means you keep that vow only for a day, on 24 hours, from the morning, tomorrow morning to the day after tomorrow morning. So it's only for one day, therefore you have to keep it really purely, without transgressing it any. And then also you're taking the refuge and the Bodhisattva vows, and you should keep those vows as well. So if you take a lot of vows but don't observe them well, then it doesn't benefit, and it becomes more negative karma than positive karma. So most important thing is that you have to know what are the vows that you should keep. You have to keep if you take the 8 minor precepts. So the 8 minor precepts you can take on your own if you have taken it, from a lama before. But for the first time, of course, you have to take from some qualified teacher. Then after that, then you can take it on your own at your place. It's not saying that you can take it on your own just because you're lazy to come to the group. If you don't have that means to go to the place where there is where you can take it in group, and then you can take it on your own. So if you were to say can do or not, then you can also not take the precept at all, right? So sometimes we tend to do the easy thing, because of what we want.
냠돌랑은 같이 때려 괜찮아 보여요.
So if you take, of course, if you are very far away and there's difficulties in getting to the place, transportation wise and so forth, then there's exception. You can take it on your own. Otherwise, it is more important to take in a group because there's more benefits there. And so anyway, once you have taken the 8 minor precepts, then you have to know what are those precepts. And so those are things that you have to keep, abstaining from the 4 roots. And so that's the 4 roots are taking the life of other being, and then taking what is not given to you, stealing, and then engaging in sexual activities, not necessarily adultery, any kind of sexual activities, and then telling lie. And so when you say taking the life of other beings or killing, it means any kind of being, not necessarily human beings. Like you lose the vow of a monk if you kill human beings. But you don't lose it if you kill an ant or something. But if you kill human beings, then you lose your vow. So this is not like that. In this case, killing any kind of beings.
And
then the stealing, taking the things which were not given to you, can be any kind of thing, whether it is valuable or not, doesn't matter. Any kind of things that you take or steal is stealing. So, and then like the third one, which is not engaging in sexual activities. So, like I said, not necessarily adultery, but even engaging in any kind of sexual activity is prohibited once you have taken that vow. So, so usually when we talk about the lie, it says that the lie of the supernatural human quality, but not necessarily like that here. So any kind of things, any kind of false things that you say would be lying here. And then you should not drink alcohol on top of that.
If you're a sick person, maybe it's okay.
So if you are sick and you have to take it as medicine, then there's an exception for that.
And
so and then there says untimely eating means not eating in an improper time. And so what is considered as improper time? There's a different version for that. In one version it says that, I think also it depends on the strictness and how strict you want to be. And so in one version it says that you cannot even have a breakfast. You can only have 1 meal a day. So far what we've been following the version of eating the breakfast here, right? And so if possible, of course, you should even avoid the breakfast and have only 1 meal before noon, and that has to be a completely white meal. The explanation will come later what it means by white. And some people, when they don't eat, they get the loom, which is the wind in the channels. goes up, and then that causes the person to become angry. If it's like that, then you better eat it.
Yeah. Sometimes I give a chili, give a chili, change in the course I want to take, and it can't give a chili, can't give a
And so sometimes we try to do the virtuous thing, and because of that virtuous thing, we tend to get angry. And so virtuous thing became like the condition for the anger to rise. And then whatever you do after that, you're doing with anger, everything becomes non-virtue. So then it's not good.
And you choose your courage. And 가르나 때 요몽은 맞아요. 제가 요몽은 맞아요. 정답방 맞으나 답은 맞아요.
So what we practice Dharma is at least to stop the delusion from manifesting, from arising. Of course, if possible, to abandon it completely. That's the final goal of practicing Dharma. But temporarily, you should be able to suppress it, keep it down so it will not arise.
Sometimes we do practice, then we practice, someone can knock down, and you don't talk, and come again. I'm doing practice, what are you doing? It's very loud, right? Many people do this. They're very loud. I'm doing my practice, what are you doing? They should, immediately they're angry. Then angry, then they pray, then there's some control the young brothers. You bring them that they go on doing wishes.
And so the mind is overwhelmed by that anger, but then the eyes on the text, trying to read. So I don't know whether the reading becomes virtue or not.
The mind goes to anger, think that they're reading the text. But it is that
so anyway, so whatever virtue practice you do, it's important to make sure that it doesn't become a cause or condition for non-virtues. And so that was the sixth one, right? So not eating at improper time. And then the next one, the seventh one is and so it's like not sitting on a high throne or on a high bed and sleeping on a high bed and so forth. And then the eighth one is wearing ornaments, and then performing songs and dances. So those are not allowed also. And so if we were to wear perfumes or the ornaments, jewelries, and then engage in the the performance of dances and songs, then that will arise, and that will cause attachments to arise, and therefore they are prohibited. And so those are the 8 precepts, 8 minor precepts. And so you think if you can keep them, it will be a really good thing to do tomorrow.
Okay, it's just one day, it's not too good. Then is that time you want and then that's how said on
and for that whole day, try to control yourself from falling into the delusions like anger, attachment, ignorance, and so forth.
control nature control 맞아 주 영어도 제가 있나 다 lembal에 다 많이 가고 was 대다 domba 대다 댕이 강가데 되잖아 비파티 체
So if you fall under the influence of these delusions like anger, attachment, jealousy, and so forth, then it will be better not to take the precept, because if you engage in non-virtuous action, then the person with the precept creates more negative karma than a person without precept. And so therefore one should try not to get angry oneself and also try to not cause others to become angry. So the Kadamba masters have said, what is that thing that doesn't allow us to be free from the psychic state is the attachment.
아니 개와서디 게임 중에 그러나 아니 저도 그래서 그래서
And what
what
causes the virtues to decline or degenerate is the jealousy.
아니 개와만 냠중에 그러나 아니 맞아야지 그래서 당보들아 세다 당보들의 세다를 개와 그러나 만 냠중에 세다를 했어 개와야 팔미 중에데 아니 저도 그래서
So what causes the virtues to degenerate is the anger, and what causes the virtues to not increase is the jealousy. So therefore we should try not to fall under the control of these two illusions. So that is the purpose of practicing Dharma, right? Trying to separate your mind from these illusions. So if our mind is becoming rough and rough, more and more rough, then our practicing Dharma is not really doing its work, not really keeping and not leaving any imprint in our mind.
내가 그거 소주선을 시대가 시대. 주 제게 선을 시대 교조는 대어 방향으로.
And also the purpose of practicing Dharma is to achieve happiness and peace. But if there's less and less peace and happiness as a result of practicing Dharma, then that's not good.
시대에서야 소주 시대 소주가 맞으면 그거는 뭐라고 말했어.
And so the happiness, peace and happiness, for oneself has to be, core by oneself. You cannot find that by searching on Google.
Usually we find a lot on Google. Even right now we can find the Tibetan texts also making a Google. But peace about our mind, you never ever find your Google. Also, even you go maybe million dollar, you say, I'm going to buy peaceable where I can find. No one said.
So therefore it is very important to control one's own mind. So tomorrow is the day when Buddha performed the deeds in our passing away, about a little more than maybe 2,500 years ago. So therefore try to perform as much virtues as possible throughout the day and night, and try not to get angry, be attached and so forth.
If you can tell your husband or wife, partner said, today, tomorrow I have to do this, sorry, tomorrow anything.
So whatever you want to do to make me angry, just do it today. Spare me for tomorrow.
Okay? Then, without telling you, take care of your
And so if you have time in the daytime, you can come here and sit in the gompa here and do practice or meditation, and then go around and circumambulate the temple and the stupa. So whatever you can do, that will multiply by a lot. And some people, they cannot stand the crowd and they become angry. So if you're like that, then you better not come.
Some people like to quiet, some would like to noisy. Different kinds. They might be to do your social. They were not in the country to do 600 was to change
And anyway, so if you're not like that, someone who hates the crowd, then you can come here and do any kind of virtuous actions. And here also we have the scriptures, of Buddha's teaching, And so take those scriptures, wipe them, clean them, place them on your head, and then put it back. So you can do this practice. So just like you said in the King of Prayer, the benefits of even like reading or seeing it or touching it is inconceivable. We cannot imagine how much virtue there are. So this is a weekday, and people are working, so therefore you might not have time to come and do that here. But whatever holy objects you have, the scriptures, statues that you have at home, wipe them, clean them, and place them back in the bookshelf and so forth.
Usually we say this is a free country, right? We say it's very free. And when you want to but
we don't really have a freedom here, right?
you have no choice to go and walk. That's not a country. 내가 말하나? 이라 말. 이 말은 내가 간 말. 갈 곳에 말았어.
So yeah, we have no freedom from that, right? We have to go to work. And that's again important, because if we don't work, we will not make money. If we don't make money, we will not find a place to live, food to eat, the clothes to wear, and so forth. So for all this, we need money. For that, we need work, job, right? So that's important again.
개와 재활할 때는 아니 되게 깨진데 주말 소소 먹기와 쌓여 있는 그때 제가 매월 했죠. 가정에 개와 지내가 방고 찾아가고 만들지 쳤어요. 딱 나를 매월 찍고 그랬어요.
And so, to make sure that you will not, come and blame to the dharma or to the virtue, for whatever bad happened to you in the future. So, like for example, like you said, oh, I want to practice dharma, and now I become like this. It's all because of practicing dharma.
Buddhism teaches
But there have been some people, who blame, to Buddhism. It's all because of Buddhism I became like this. Of course, Buddhism teaches you to do this and that, but whether you do that or not, it's all it's entirely up to you.
Just getting it all out
So as a child, or infant, you don't know anything to say except to cry. So anything happened to them, and all they can do is cry.
You can even show very unhappy or very rough face, or could be say very bad words. Maybe write very bad words. Kids more peace. And show Jing Shawana, and that's simply said in that Jesus, what? You know, the Mazuni China, Zimbalan, never much you see, the same kind of peace. She did also, so much, never much you see, sit others.
So when you compare ourselves, like human beings, with the wild animals, who do you think will be, will be less harming other beings? Who do you think will be less harming other beings? They eat. I mean, they kill and eat, right? And they harm others. But we don't kill, right? We don't kill.
Yes.
What?
Inadvertently, we kill bugs and things like this that we don't see.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Not intentionally, right?
Sure.
But Geshe, isn't it more complicated than that? Because human beings have so much more capacity for intention than animals. And so much of karma depends on intention.
밀라드는 삼바축처였어.
어디? 대따라 뭐라 삼바주지 뭐라 차바치야 뭐라야 저도 쳐야자 미 노다마 미체 was.
Yeah, so intention, is is the crucial part here, right? Or like the delusions, like attachment. Human beings have more attachment than animals, more jealousies, and so they are more capable of causing harm to others than the animals, than the wild animals. Usually, of course, we think the human beings are more safer than the wild animals, right? But most of the problems are caused by human beings. The wild animals, when they're hungry, they will kill whoever they find in the front, and after that, then they will just sit there and eat and sit and sleep maybe. But human beings are not satisfied with whatever they find at the front. They want to have more. I want to have more than that, and I want to have for my friend, or for my boyfriend, or for my girlfriend, or for my country, for my people, and things like more and more all the time, more desire. Therefore, most of the problems are created more by human beings. And the same with the good things also. The good things also can be done more by the human beings. The animals will not be able to do those good things.
아니 지난기 배나 저 마다베 꼴 삼로 땅시나 아니 다다지나 사지에서나 샘지들도 땅신 말했어. 나도 때 땅신으로 왔어.
And so if you were to tell the animals, if you know how to think about the death and impermanence, you would be imagine right now, they will not be able to think that. But human beings will be able to think about that. Right?
그러니까 미래 남주 쉬어야자 아니 단단하게 미래를 따지 버려. 이제 돌아마저 오지 하고 세월에서는 그런 상황이었어.
And because of that, we think of human life as more precious, more valuable, and therefore we should not waste it, make good use of it, and so forth.
어떤 소다 내가 처벌해 버려서 대답이 좀 딱 마음만 제시를 해서 모두 가지고 연구도 되게 내가 처벌했어.
So those are the things that we live with everyday life, with our everyday life. So therefore, I just expressed that. And so now we'll go back to our text, from where we started last time. And it's on page 242 on blue cover book. Anyway, so the title, the outline number 87. This is how to regard him or her properly.
It's 77 in the older book.
So let's read the outline number 87 and 88 altogether. How to regard him properly. Here we must establish the Guru to be a Buddha, using both scripture and logic, so that we gain unshakable conviction. This has four subheadings. Vajradhara stated that the Guru is the Buddha. There is danger that some may think spiritual guides are not really Buddhas, so we must pretend they are doing the section of the lam-rim on devotion to a spiritual guide. But the point of this teaching is that we should wrong conceptions of our mind. We should think as follows: the Guru is the Buddha, but you do not perceive it. The reason is that Vajradhara is the present on us, taking the form of Gurus. Hereby the Royal Tantra says, in future times my physical form will be that of masters, and also in the last 5 centuries I will take the form of masters, think that they are me, and will love respect of them. Also in future degenerate times, my form shall be that of pure, and through various means I will show my form. One sutra tells us, O Amagasiddhi, I will show myself bodily as others. I will abide in the forms of masters. There is many sutras and mantras say that in degenerate times, I, Vajradhara myself, will come in the form of not meet him, for you will recognize me. This literally means that they say you should assume the present time to be his future time. Vajradhara perceives us with his love and knows how so he manifests like this among our own gurus. In our present rebirth, we are knowing how to modify our behavior, to practice the instructions and so on. So he knows there is no better time for him to work for our sake. Further, all our present-day gurus are thus. If you think it is not good, the reason for this should not be of Vajradhara. The process of elimination will leave you with no elimination of Vajradhara at all. This then has the policy of contradicting the above quotations. There must be at least one elimination of the Buddha among them. If you apply only the reasons the Buddha has not been with Buddha, you will not find elimination. So your thinking is at fault. Instead, you should feel, all my gurus are nothing but elimination of the Buddha. These quotations the Buddha is enough. It's easy to believe. However, it would be much more conditioning if we did not put them in logic.
Okay. Without the kind of little repetition of
so you have established that through both logical and scriptural reasons. So the first one is that Vajradhara stated that the Guru is a Buddha.
And she is that. And the lam-rim is share why the tongue is some go ahead of some manner. That they can't be like she intends to come material. Go. Do should it? That they are low for those who
and so, again, like it says here very clearly, if, he's not really a teacher. I mean, he's not really a Buddha, or she's not really a Buddha, but, for the sake of this practice, I have to just see him or her as a Buddha. If you think like that, then that's the biggest obstacle for achieving the realization of Buddha devotion.
This we think on that. We say, oh, this, yeah, we have to do that because of the lam-rims. Usually we don't think that. What is it? What? It doesn't the Lama Sanjay and Baranga, that's Susan Momashi, yes. Susan Momashi, Lama Sanjay, my bang to Tom or was.
So it's just that we don't think of the Guru as the Buddha because we don't know the Guru is Buddha. But we cannot also prove that the Guru is not Buddha, right?
Another day be that the Sanga Dojen Shanki, Lama Dojenda, and Sanjay, that's Susan Lama, Sanjay, Lama Dojin, Lama, and you, yes, which is. And so, the reason why the Guru is Buddha is because Vajradhara takes the form of a Guru at this time of the generation, and so quoted from many different texts here. And then Mahomey imitated and she watched on Nazi. Suzuki Tamaji and Gores, take up the and two days at a young dolly. And then night Takari. Bombas also moved in the show, that's in the show of Maretra. And the Mashimites and Cambodia Lamachi, the younger years, and they got 2 days at the long moment to us.
So there's the different sutras and tantras which quote about how Buddha has said that the teacher is going to come in the form of the teacher, right? So in the Hervajra Tantras, in the future time, my physical form will be that of the masters, and in the last 5 centuries, I will take the form of masters, and also it's in the future time, my form shall be that of church, or a child, and through various means now I will show my forms. And so forth. And then also it says, you don't have to worry thinking that you will not see me, and you will definitely see me in the future. I will be coming in the form of the abbats, masters, and so forth. So the Vajradhara, is in the is within the teacher, who is teaching us the Dharma.
Rale Lenji Yam Tabin Draw and the Dojiga, Zippy, Zichi, Chemisha Daro, Tada, Jikal Peko Hako Yinza, and he does. No, and Yoper, never yote, around Lenin, Yamtabi, Yamtaba, the Tower, Doji, Sevi, Zishi, Chemishes, and you move to some young Chemaiza,
so, and then it's also, it says that Vajradhara comes in the form of the Guru in order to benefit us because he has so much compassion. He sees all the sentient beings with great compassion, and to benefit them, then he comes in the form of the teachers. Those are the logics. And so, because as human beings, with all this, the human intelligence, the wisdom, we are able to understand these dhammas. So therefore, the Buddha comes in the form of teacher to teach us. And so there's many support, for the reason, to say that Guru is Buddha, but there's no support at all for the reason to say the Guru is not Buddha. If you say Guru is not Buddha because of this, because of that, then you will never find any Buddha in the Guru. So out of ignorance and not having faith in the Guru, if you just think that the Guru is not Buddha, and if you think of any reason to think that the Guru is not Buddha, then you will not find Buddha at all in the Guru. Okay, so let's read outline 89 as well. Proof that the Guru is the agent of all the Buddha's good works. As I mentioned in the section of dawn on the battlefield, the single moon in the sky appears as separate reflection on the surface of water standing in many different containers. Similarly, the Brahman wisdom of the minds of all Buddhas, the Brahman wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness, is of one taste with the Dhammadhatu, self-truth, and appears in various aspects to the disciples, as Sharavakas to disciples best subdued by Sharavakas, as Pateka Buddha to disciples best subdued by Pateka Buddhas, and as Bodhisattva or Buddhas for disciples best subdued by Bodhisattvas or Buddhas. In the meeting of the Father and Son Sutra we find, for the sake of sentient beings they disguise themselves as Indra and Brahma. For some they disguise themselves as demons, and worldly cannot realize this. In other words, the Buddhas take on various aspects as demons or Brahma for people best subdued by demons or Brahma, and even as birds or wild beasts for people best subdued by birds and beasts, etc. They show themselves to us in the ordinance under the spiritual guide. They have no other means of guiding us. They might show us such aspects superior to an ordinary Guru, as the Sambhoga Kaya and so forth, but we cannot see them. And if they were to show themselves in inferior aspects such as birds, beasts, and so on, it would not help because we would not believe in them. As it is said in the Puja, I petition you, compassionate refuge and protector. You are the mandala of the jewels of the Siddhartha's 3 kayas, but by skillful means you guide beings as an ordinary creature, like a magic net to draw us in. That is, the 3 kayas of all Buddhas are contained within the 3 sectors of the Guru. The Guru is the illumination of all the Buddhas created in order to perform Guru works. Suppose the lead dancer in a monastic ritual puts on a Chanchara costume on the floor. The dancer is the part. Then he dresses the Dhamma-raja and dances that part. He, though he changed costume, is still the same dancer. Or you can write many different things with the same red ink. They are all the same red ink. So think, our Gurus are nothing but Vajradhara's inventions, which are his skillful means to subdue us. Tinder catches fire if you use the magnifying glass, and to catch the sun's rays. And you may have different kinds of food, but they will not enter the stomach if they don't go through the mouth. You likewise receive the blessings and right karma of the Buddhas who work by relying on the Guru. The Guru is the agent of all the Buddhas who work because he makes you perform all your positive actions. If this is so, do not doubt that you must be a Buddha. The Buddhas who work are the blessings they bestow while working for the sake of sentient beings. You must receive these blessings independent of the Guru. If this is necessarily so, it is impossible that Gurus are ordinary. They have to be Buddhas. If they were ordinary beings and they came with the good works of Buddhas, they would have been sentient beings. If that were necessarily so, it would mean that Buddhas require existence of ordinary beings. Buddha did not need such existence. When Buddha worked for the sake of sentient beings, he did not need even help of the Sarvatas, but the Buddhas or the great Bodhisattvas. All Buddhas taught them being assisted by ordinary beings. So Buddhas incarnate as ordinary beings so that the sentient beings are fortunate enough to see them. They also incarnate as bows, bridges, and so forth, but these things appear to us merely as the work of carpenters. We can take nothing else about them. Continue to quote the illustration of the lamp. Through the sun's rays are hot. We can acquire no lessons. Similarly, without the Guru, you cannot see the lessons of the Buddhas. And our Rinchen and Raja Lama quote the same illustration. The rays of the blazing sun focus through a clear lens, with nothing shadows in between, with bang upon the tinder. Disciples receive the Buddha's good works in dependence on the Guru. If the Guru were not the Buddha would not require his assistance, as the rich do not help the others. We must think this over. Gurus and Buddhas are one and the same. The reason being the Buddhas would otherwise be dependent on the Gurus.
Good. You are tired?
Breathe.
Breathe. Okay. That's how everybody understand, right? That's not difficult. Can't get how it was. And then you say, Kaji. And then, Gege Nama not on Damra, you're a and Dawa Chimishim, the Tiway, Church, and I don't know if I have that you about it, Sanjiri. And the two that only she take it out. I just look out, don't have to take Nama, the period is without Nama.
So it says that it's the one Buddha, and then there are many teachers, many gurus taking the form of many teachers, and such as just like there's only one moon, but the reflection of that moon can be in all these in the water of different containers. So just like that, Buddha can be offered in many different gurus.
And the Yase Jim told the Geshe Ngawang Tenley, Ramanda, Dida, Leda, Semchana, Mandaga Nabatan, and Sanji, Semchi, the Pegasus was.
And then in the meeting of the fathers in the Sun Sutra, he says that for the sake of engineers, they describe themselves as Indra, Brahma, and so forth. So they come in many different kind of forms. So if they don't come in these forms, and just come in the emanation form, then we will not be able to see them. We will not be able to meet with them. And sometimes also Buddhas, they come in the form of a bridge, to help the sentient beings, to cross the river, where there is no bridge and so forth. So we don't know, right? We will just see that as an ordinary bridge, and then we walk on that. Otherwise, if we know that's the Buddha, then we'll not even walk on that. It's just that we don't know. Otherwise, Buddha, benefits us in many different ways, with many different skills.
And Sanjay Koto and Lame Naba, Avage Naba, Kenu Naba, Drumin Naba, Mara Rapu Naba Shinton and Way Reservoir, Indian, doing how much it is.
Sanjay.
And
so the Buddha also come in many different forms, in the form of the masters, the abbots, the wrathful deities, peaceful deities, and so forth. So they come in all these different forms, to benefit different beings. Otherwise, they are all the same person, same being, Buddha.
Pena, Chamdon Travana, Chamdaman Travana, Chami Mitchibar was called Churo Turuka Konshanas.
And then here they talk about the performer, the dancer who is dancing the ritual dance, who is performing the ritual dance, right? Who's wearing these costumes, of different deities, will come in different ways. So people will think that, oh, this is this, this is that, but actually it's the same person, who's coming in different, outfits, right?
아니 가나다에는 가나데 그게 여자 수수 가나 말고 아니나 아니 딱 수수까지 수도 말고 가나데 수도 말고 왔어. 대패 되는 게 산제라 신럽다 투지어데 있나야 디바라 개개기 만수바라 지금 내가로 맞이나 아니 산제 신럽도 주토고 말했어. 미주도 나와서 더 가고 말고 왔어.
And also like then the guru, even though there are so many different kind of food, but if it doesn't go through the mouth, it will not get to the stomach. So even though there are these Buddhas, or there are so many Buddhas, but if the teachings are not taught through the teacher, through the guru, then we will not be able to receive those teachings.
근데 인자면은 시단 님에게 왜 타고 싫어요 이랬어. 이나 디바라 메시에서도 매와 있나? 아니 이게 좋아서야 됐다. 말투에서 말했어. 대도 지바를 산제라 신을 매와 있나야. 개개기 뒤섬지도 빨라. 내가 매와 있나? 아니 산제 신을 좋다고 말했어.
And so just like it says that even though the sun has a very strong power rays, but will not be able to catch a fire on a tinder if it is not transmitted through the magnifying glass.
그래서 길에서 아니 산제를 다 고속투지 틀에 씹하고 나도 씹하고 들어가고 그래서.
And so just like that, if there's no Buddha, no guru, then we will not be able to receive these powerful teachings of the Buddha. So therefore, guru is like the agent for the Buddhas. And because every virtuous action in us is the activities of the Buddha, is the activity of Buddha. And the reason is because the guru who taught us that action, that thing, and then we perform that virtuous action, right? And therefore, we're able to do that. If the teacher hasn't taught us, then we'll never be able to perform. So that is actually, the deeds of the Buddha. And so therefore, the Buddha is, the Buddha guru is like the agent, of the Buddha, who passes all this information, through the guru, to the disciples. And so because of all these reasons, we have to come to the conclusion that the guru is the Buddha. Because we'll never find any reason that guru is not Buddha. So don't even try that. So, we might find a reason, because he's angry at me, or he's shouting at me, and so forth. But those are not really a good reason, right? So we usually tend to think like that. Because of those reasons, we think that, the guru is not Buddha. And when he's nice to us, when he's peaceful with us, then we think, we think he might be a Buddha, or we have a strong faith in him. But when he is rough with us, or shouted at us, or scolded us, then we think, he's not good. He cannot be a Buddha, right? Do you have that kind of feeling? Do you think like, he's too much, I cannot stand him? Yeah, it happens a lot. I've heard so many incidents like that. And so just because you don't see it good doesn't mean that other person is not good, right? And that's not a reason, to prove that he or she is not good. And so it's not their fault, it's our own fault, because our minds are influenced by these delusions, therefore we see the faults in others.
만족의 수수 셈용은 저 딩왕이 간도 나서 주되는 거.
And so we're influenced by the delusions, and then we just follow those delusions and think whatever we see is the truth.
그리고 지금 이제 나도 짜증짜증 보스치세요. 말은 너무 맞지 끊는다.
And so just like Lama Tsongkhapa said, we're trapped in the net of all this ignorance of grasping at the true existence and so forth.
다들 나한테 나 따다니 니 지금 따다니 나한테 아니 디부스데 대부스니 다 수준 만들어 수준을 먹어야 아니 따뜻한 것을 하는 거 같아.
So the self-grasping, ignorance, is the one that that makes us to think that I'm perfect, I'm this and that and so forth. So because of being influenced by that grasping by the self, then we always tend to think that I'm right and so forth.
아니 나도 라야라 너무 죽어내도 거라야 아니 가로 대나 지선을 막 투지죠 마지언 쪽에 들들 동화가 멀리다다 따라먹는다 나도 라고요 와서 얘나야 가을 라고야 되는 아니 수수 만들어야지 감내면서 그래 너도 갑자기 다 그러고.
So also we tend to recite this prayer in Guru Puja where it says through the kindness of the gurus may I be able to take all the non-virtues and all the obstructions and softness of the sentient beings upon myself. But when we don't want it, then we just tend to not think even about that, right? But even though we recite that all the time.
어떻게 봐도 다른 거 라마치가 지나면 다른 거 라마치가 세대 간지 산제도 상주상 라마 소지도 세다니 뒤인들이야 아니 하나도 그냥 제 대차지상하나 아니 남는 그냥 제일 그래서 이대로 되나.
So the Guru Puja, where we perform these prayers, during that ceremony, what we do is we usually visualize the merit field, and in the merit field, we visualize the Guru, the Buddha, the Vajradhara, and all these other holy beings, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and so forth. And in their presence, then you do the practice of the 7 limbs. You make prostration to them, you make offerings to them, and so forth. And then after that, then you engage in the practice of the lam-rim, or the graduate path to enlightenment, in that section of the prayers.
오늘 냠leg인데 조디 다다 람름들이 다다 람름들이 디카라다 근데 넘어서 그러면 지금 가자기 뭐 뭐지 세네티 람름들 그런 뭐 그러네 양식 손도 와서.
So the main practice of the prayer is that reviewing the stages of path. That path is the main practice of the of this puja or the ritual ceremony, and because of all these different reasons that Lama Zopa Rinpoche saw, for the benefit of all sentient beings, then he has added many verses from other prayers, other texts, in that section of the puja, and made it really nice. So the Guru Puja actually includes all the practices.
아니 야나도 냠네 아니 조시세다 봐 야나도 냠네 아니 뒤에다가 지 소소 삼가를 땅고 요청도 와서 다시 또 냠네 나서.
And the practice of visualizing the merit field, the practice of the 7 limbs, and then the practice of the whole lam-rim, and the practice of the small scope, the medium scope, the great scope, the 6 perfections, and so forth.
담상하도 지금 방식을 적당하지. 이게 마치 나올 때마다 장식 너무 강하시. 아니 호흡을 아니 공로이사. 나가면 소장도 와서.
And so sometimes, when we're doing puja, Lama Chopa Puja, we take all these vows, like Bodhisattva vows, the tantric vows, and then at the end you become angry and destroy everything. So that happens sometimes, right, because of some kind of conditions. So whatever virtuous actions you engage in, it is very important to be careful of that. And try to apply to your mind. And so if you are taught, it's the same from before practicing and after practicing the Dharma, then your practice of Dharma has not benefited your mind. But most of you have become Buddhist after you were grown up, right? After you were grown up. But with Tibetans, we always think that a child, from the time he's born, he or she is born, she becomes Buddhist, without even knowing anything about Buddhism. But you are different from that. You understood it, and then through understanding, then you become a Buddhist, right? So in your case, if you are same as what you used to be before you practice Dharma, then you haven't. Then the practice of Dharma hasn't benefited according to the text. And it's for giving peace and happiness to one's mind.
I'll
check.
Okay, the first question, what kind of qualifications should the disciple have?
Okay. Yeah. Who's giving? Okay.
The disciple should want to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, other things? And who know more? The more light, that's the right. Yeah. Also, they are more. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, first, you have to keep going.
You can say it first.
They should be honest and impartial. They should not be attached to their own tradition and hostile to other traditions. They should yearn for the teachings and have respect for their guru. They should have a right motivation, and there's one more.
Okay, now go ahead, man.
I was going to say they should have proper guru devotion.
Just this? Okay, now get it.
The wisdom to know the difference between right and wrong. That was the fifth one at the end of the sentence. The wisdom to know the difference between right and wrong.
Oh, you have to have one more. It's good.
So what Ian said is exactly what is in the text. What's your name? Sorry.
But me?
Yeah.
Marge.
Marge. Yes. Whatever Marge said. Yeah. Whatever, not whatever. What Marge said. That you have to have the wish to learn, right? So that's, of course, that's very important, right? You have to have a wish to learn. That's right too. But the mainly is like what Ian said, according to the text. So if that becomes good, then whatever Mary said would be right.
First you are right, we have to learn. Then what we learn, Ian and Gary said they learn. After you have to learn, then they come what Mary said. They come to each other.
So the second question?
In the context of the qualifications of a disciple, what does it mean to be honest?
Okay? Who's? Any, if you think just said.
You have? Okay.
Well, I think Ian said it before, which was.
He really said?
think Ian said it before about being impartial in terms of other groups. I think Ian already answered it.
Yeah, this kind of
getting there was. Yeah, impartial, right? Not being biased or impartial. So, well, and in other words, like not falling into the extreme of saying, oh, these are my friends, you know, I'm very good with them, and these are my enemies, and they're bad.
Yeah.
These are my friends, they're good. So those are two extremes, right? Well, what does it mean by falling into those two extremes?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think mainly it means not to be hypocritical, like not to show the guru that we're a better practitioner than we actually are. So that's kind of my opinion of what they mean to be honest, to be honest with our faults and not to put on a show for the guru.
That's lost all of us in Tambosi, same Tambosi had it, Zumama Tabes. Now, Soso Yamlemba member, and I gave him the Soso Yamleva Shuins, they're chatted on the chats. The number chatted in Tambos, lost all of us.
This is good.
How can we apply that to ourselves?
Use the guru as a mirror.
Lama did that, Milama Chess.
Yeah, there is there's a character, yeah. Lama shows all the force for us. The mirror shows how what our face.
So the guru will point out, you know, what are we doing is wrong, or you know, what is bad in us and so forth. Then he'll say, okay, that's bad, that's not good, you should not do that, and so forth. So just like when you look into the mirror, then you will see all the dirts, you know, falls on your face.
And the academic Geshe Ngawang Tenley. And some of one that gave actually there is some one. Get to the some toy that they really get the choice.
So the best teacher, as they say, best teacher is the one who, you know, brings that effect in you, who affects you a lot, most, in fact, the most. Literally, it says like who hits your vital point. Means like, you know, who really makes you feel like, yes, that's really that he's telling this to me, he's telling that to me, you know, he's telling this, you know, to help me and so forth. When you feel like that, then that's the best teacher.
Maybe collars, maybe molars, maybe collars, maybe chimney.
And so instead, if he thinks, you know, oh, you know, the teacher's not telling that about me, you know, he's telling to him or her or somebody, you know, out there in my neighbor or something like that, then that, you know, that practice is not becoming, you know, effective to you.
So
it's not made up by myself, you know, it's said by the Kadamba masters in the lam-rim practices, devotion practices. And so, you know, not being partial, you know, with others, it's like not saying that, oh, these are good, these are bad, and whatever I think is, you know, correct and so forth. So not thinking like that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Not third one.
What are the three types of faiths, and what kind of faith should a disciple have towards his or her guru?
Okay. Let's give you.
So what are the three faiths first?
First,
Yeah.
devotion. Trust, devotion,
Ichi.
practice
Yamnes.
of the path, discrimination,
다음부터 이치세더라. So yeah, not exactly in that way, but you know what you said is close to that. You have something?
So I had to sort of look around through the book, but I think there's a believing faith, which is belief in cause and effect, enduring faith, which is the belief in sort of the benign cleansing faith, which is the belief in Guru as Buddha.
Okay? You got it?
And so then what is the faith of this context? What kind of faith is the faith in this context? The faith that disciples should have towards Guru. It's which kind of faith?
Cleansing.
The Lama Sangha style. Yeah. So like you said, it's the faith, the cleansing faith, the faith that you have towards the Guru, because you see his or her qualities, and therefore you think that, oh, he's really Buddha or she's really Buddha. And that kind of faith, that's the kind of faith that the disciple should have towards the teacher or Guru. So the trust in faith, is like like you said, the trust or the conviction, is believing, and believing in whatever it is said in the text. So that kind of faith. And then the longing faith, is the faith that wishes to achieve those qualities, within oneself.
Longing?
Longing. Like wanting, I want to have that longing. And so if you think of the qualities of the Buddhas in the body, speech, and mind, so incredible qualities. And so I want to have that, like that kind of quality myself, so I can, use to benefit other sentient beings. So that kind of longing. So just like we always say, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, right? So that's your longing to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
But isn't it that faith be alive without the container and the context of time within the teaching of the Buddha? And the question I have for myself, you speak at length about the Buddha today, and is Buddha consciousness, is Buddha the path to the enlightenment without falling in the trap of too much analysis? Is Buddha consciousness, a state of beingness within the Buddhist path? When you say Buddha, you have to feel it. So it's like a sound, Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. So there's a consciousness, a state of consciousness like Christ, the Christ consciousness, the state of beingness. It's alive, it's not just a doctrine for me.
So yeah, it's not just a concept. It's a human being. Not human being. It's a being, right? The Buddha is a being, and someone who have completely freed himself or herself from all the delusions, all the obstructions, and is fully, who knows everything about everything, and who has no obstructions at all, and who knows everything. There's no delusions, no attachment, no grasping at the self, nothing of those kind. And someone who is like that is called Buddha. Yeah. And so now we say the Buddha is that, and that's the Buddha. And Buddha, to benefit sentient beings, they come in the form of gurus. So you see the statues, of the Buddha, or the drawing, the paintings of the Buddha. It's just, to say that, oh, there's a Buddha, there was a being like this, called Buddha. But that's not the real Buddha.
Buddha said, "Don't tell me what. Tell me again, lad. That card, co card, na. So so like Dewa is two ten. That Lama did that Sanjay race. So Dewa can't do it,
and so if you say, where's the Buddha, then you can say, my guru is the Buddha. So the person who teaches you Dharma, towards whom you have faith, or devotion, is the Buddha. So someone who all believes to be Buddha in common is like His Holiness Dalai Lama or Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who can say they are Buddha. So if you don't accept that, then and were to go out to find Buddha, then you will never find Buddha. And also we just read through all these different logics and scriptural reasons to prove that Guru is Buddha, right? And so that's because he or she helps us, benefits us, right? Like a Buddha.
You have some?
Yes. Why is the faith that the Guru is a Buddha called the cleansing faith?
So, I don't know, maybe the wording, can cause the confusion about, what does it mean, like, not necessarily cleansing, but not like cleaning, but clear, like lucid, So that's the faith, that you come. It's a clear faith that you develop by seeing the qualities, the incredible qualities that you see in the person, and then you develop that faith. And so, he's wonderful, she's wonderful, like that. So that kind of, feeling of faith, is called the lucid or cleansing faith.
And
then the conviction faith is like just believing, the believing faith, it's just believing, we can't prove that whatever result that we're experiencing is created by such and such action. We can't prove that, so we just believe, it must be that, or the Buddha is incredible being, just because we don't have the logical reason to think about that. Somebody said it, we just believe that Buddha is great. And so you have to come to believe that by giving you get, you become rich through the practice of giving. So that is nothing that is something that you cannot prove. How to prove that is not possible. And so, but you have to believe because Buddha said it. And so all those people who are rich in this world, they practice generosity in their previous lives. And because of that, they are rich now. That's what Buddhism explains. But we can't really prove that, and we believe in that. So that's the belief. And then also we say, Buddhism says that, Buddha's teaching says that by practicing patience, you will have appearance, good look, and so forth. And of course, Buddha has related, Buddha can tell, okay, someone was practicing very strong practice, and therefore, in that life, he or she had such a beautiful look, and so forth. But, other than that, we cannot bring any kind of logical reason to prove that, so we just believe in that, Buddha said.
나도 지치야 됐어.
And you know, different people, as a people, we're all very different from each other, right? You know, in the look-wise, the way we look, the way we appear, and so forth. And so, because of the kind of karma that we each have created in a different ways, we have different looks.
Samsaya kagari, suzuki dawaya kagayori, and namjitenda kagayori, kagayori.
So they all are very different, the way we think, the way we talk, and the way we, appear, and so forth.
내가 잡으면 수zo 뭐 가르쳐 있는 것도 잘라가는 하고 소통도 봤어. 콜레지 말고 고지게는 돈 전화 봤어.
So if it's not the karma, then we can just make everybody look like exactly like the same, right? Just like we can make the things to look exactly the same.
나타나서 미기 째와서 콜 레더라 가로. 내가 여기서 다 말하는 용도로. 소통만, 저거 소통만.
The life of the human beings or any kind of being is related with the karma that they have created. Therefore, they are all very different. Nobody can be exactly the same.
근데 여기다 딱 레더에서 다도 이제 제가 나도 또 오면도 그 레더에서 콘텐츠는 나도 또 오면도 왔어.
So and that's why we just believe that he became like this and he has that kind of look because he did that and so forth. And we just believe in that. And nobody can prove that that was the karma that is, unless you have the clairvoyance to see that.
너가 대신에 됐죠.
맞다. 뭐 이렇게 대번씩 주치라.
오다 들려 지난 노다로 들려 말했어. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Page 39, the Thanksgiving mandala offering. Sadhu